Hi everyone, I'm Anthony, and my partner today is Belle.
Hi everyone.
Welcome to our final interview of the year. It's gone by so quickly. We had some really fantastic guests in over the last 8 months.
Today, to finish the year in style, we have someone super special in the studio. He has a very exciting job, which, to be honest, I don't think I could do. It's Will Sargent, official snake catcher for Lantau Island.
A huge welcome to our school. Will, thank you for coming. All of our students and teachers have been really looking forward to you for coming.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Belle. I'm very happy to be here and excited for this interview.
Could you start by describing for us a typical day in your job? Because a snake catcher is not a job you hear of every day.
Yeah, so I don't get called to snakes every day, but basically, if someone has a snake in their house and they don't know what it is or what to do, they'll call the police, and then the police will call me. And if I'm free and available, I'll go to that person's location and then move the snake. So, for example, yesterday I was called 2 times. Usually I'm only called once every few days. And one time was in Discovery Bay, which is on Lantau, and the second time was in Tongfuk in Lantau. The one in Discovery Bay, someone had a snake inside their house. It turned out it was a rat snake, so it was not venomous, it's harmless. And the other one in Tongfuk was also a rat snake, but this one was caught in a net in a garden. And it was stuck in the net, and it would have died had someone not moved it. So luckily they called me and I could cut it out with a pair of scissors. So it really varies.
That snake was lucky.
Ms. Holt told us that there are a lot of snakes around now. Can you tell us when exactly snake season starts and ends in Hong Kong?
Well, it's difficult to tell you exactly to the day, but normally in April it starts getting busy. Towards the end of April and early May is the busiest time probably in the whole year. And then it slows down a little bit for summer. And then towards the end of summer, around August, September, we'll see another spike. It will be a lot more activity, and then it will slow down for the winter again. So now is peak season.
So what will happen to the snake that got caught in the net?
Well, luckily it hadn't been there for too long, and so I took it home. I bathed it in water because it was probably dehydrated, and it seems like it's recovering. So I think it'll be okay, and then probably tomorrow I'll let it go near where I caught it.
Did it have any injuries?
Yeah, so often when snakes are caught in these nets, they push through the net really hard, and the net will cut into them. So this one has a few, but not too deep. So I think it should be okay.
So could you tell us how the situation could have been avoided so we can make sure we don't make the same mistake, causing an injury to another snake in the future?
That's a good question, and I always tell people don't use those nets. So there's a kind of net that people use, it's like a fishing net, which has very fine nylon, and the snakes will get into it like a fish and get caught. So better to use a net that's not so fine, or it's fixed like chicken wire is better thing to use.
How do the snakes get attracted into the net?
Well, these nets are usually placed in outdoors and gardens, and so this is the natural habitat for snakes. So they're not attracted to the net, but they just happen to be passing, and they can't really see the net very well, or they don't know, and they try and push through it, and then they'll get caught. So that's why using those nets in your garden is not good. And not just for snakes, I think those nets will catch other animals too. Sometimes birds or frogs or newts or other creatures.
Okay. So what would you say is the biggest misunderstanding people have about snakes, Will?
Well, Anthony, I'm glad you asked me that. I think There's a lot of misinformation about snakes, and I think the number one thing is people think that snakes are aggressive, and they're not. They're defensive. So what does that mean? If a snake sees you and it can see you coming towards it, it will try and get away. It will not attack you. It doesn't want to attack you. It's not interested. What happens is that people will step on a snake, or they won't see it and they will stand too close to it, and the snake will be scared and it will try and get away, and if it thinks that it can't get away, then it might try and bite you. But it's not through aggression, it's through defense. So that's the number one thing that people misunderstand. Snakes don't chase you, they're not trying to get you, they don't try and bite you for no reason. It's only if they feel threatened that that will happen. Oh, and then snakes, at least in Hong Kong, don't eat people. So that's another reason why they wouldn't try and attack you.
We know that you are responsible for seeing to it that snakes are now mostly caught and released back into the wild, rather than being kept in boxes for days or made into soup in restaurants like the old days. Why do you feel so strongly about this?
Oh, that's a big question. So it's important, I think, as a society that we have the best policy possible. So we try and do the best thing for wildlife. And as you mentioned, Anthony, that snakes, a lot of people misunderstand snakes. Then it's good if we can try and have a policy that's more responsible, and not because people are scared of snakes, but what is appropriate. The old policy that you talked about meant that snakes would probably, wild animals, snakes, would be killed. I mean, is this a good policy for a city to have? No.
That's kind of a very bad policy.
It is, it's a bad policy.
It's kind of cold-hearted if you just kill a wild animal that didn't harm you.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, some snakes are very rare. So if you have a policy that just kills any animal, if there isn't a system in place that you know what it is, what happens if it's an extremely rare animal? And then you kill it, and then we don't have those snakes anymore for a future generation.
So if you kill it, like you don't know if it's an endangered this animal or not. That snake.
Exactly.
We don't need more endangered animals.
Nope, we certainly don't. Animals have a very hard time in the world today, so every little bit that we can do then is pushing a better policy forward.
Our students have written a lot of questions for us to ask you.
I can
Are
see,
you ready?
yeah. I'm ready. There's a lot of questions there.
Justin from class 2D asks how old you were when you started catching snakes.
That's an easy one. I was about 9 years old when I started.
Oh, that's impressive. Have you always lived in Hong Kong?
I have. I've been here my whole life. I moved to Hong Kong when I was about 2 years old.
Jerry from 6A asks if you feel nervous when you caught your first snake. Can you tell us about that experience?
I can't remember exactly which was the first snake, but I remember the first cobra that I caught, and I think I was 11 or 12 years old with my mother, and it was just good fun. Of course, you know, it took a long time, and didn't know what I was doing, and we used a big net and a stick and spent ages, but it was very exciting. So I remember that, and definitely over the years you remember certain things, like the first time I saw a python, you know, which is a really special snake to see in Hong Kong. So I can remember that, and yeah, so there's lots of different milestones.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Did your mum also snake catch?
No.
No, it was just for fun.
She was just the responsible adult,
Right.
letting me catch a cobra at 11 years old.
Exciting though.
She figured that it would be better that she's there than not there.
Yeah, definitely.
Some kind of control.
Carlos from 4A is interested to know what inspired you to become a snake catcher. Maybe Carlos would like to be one when he grows up as well.
Well, I've always been interested in animals and wildlife and nature. I think it's very, very important. And my brother, my older brother, used to go out catching snakes with his friend, a guy called Dave Willett. He's a snake catcher in Saikong now. And so they introduced me to it. And as a young boy, it's definitely good fun to go out looking for snakes or catching snakes. It's just exciting. And there's so many different snakes in Hong Kong. We're lucky. We have a lot of biodiversity here that I didn't know what I'd find if I went out. So it's fun from that point of view.
Do you still keep in touch with your brother's friend?
Dave? Yeah, we keep in touch. He's in Saikong, so I don't see him very much, but he's also a snake catcher, and so we have some crossover with things that we have to do with the police.
So does that mean like you sometimes we work together? Like
Not catching snakes, but just in the policy side of things. So every time we catch a snake, we have to do certain things, like we have to report it to the police in a WhatsApp group, and for the police and Kadori Farm and other snake catchers and things like that. So I hear from him nearly every day in that sense.
What skills or personality traits do you think are essential for someone interested in becoming a snake catcher?
So I don't think it's that difficult, if I'm being honest. Sometimes it is a little bit, but people think it's really, really hard. I think the most important thing is you have to have an interest. So then you know what all the snakes are, then you know if it's a non-venomous snake, then it's not dangerous, right? Then it's probably experience is the most important thing. So you start off catching non-venomous snakes and smaller snakes, and then when you get more used to it and you understand the behavior more and more and more, then you can get involved in catching bigger snakes and then venomous snakes, and then eventually catching big king cobras, for example, which is a completely different skill set than anything else.
okay. So Arthur from 6A wants to know if catching a snake is difficult.
Well, mostly not. The fun thing about being a snake catcher for the police is that they call you to so many different situations. And 3 days ago, I went to a prison to catch a snake, so that was really interesting for me. But the snake was inside a drain above our heads, so I had to stand on a bench to get it. And I was holding the snake on one side, and then the head popped out the other side, and it was a Chinese cobra. It was very badly injured, and so it's better just to end it quickly than let it suffer. Yeah.
In all the time you have been a snake catcher, which was the hardest snake to catch, and what happened during the call out?
I caught a very big 3.5 meter king cobra last summer, and it was under a carpet outside, but I didn't know where the head was, so I could just see it, and it was as thick as my arm, huge. And king cobras are very, very fast, so that was quite hard. But the hardest I caught a king cobra was downstairs in a housing estate, and there's lots and lots of bicycles parked. And the king cobra was in amongst all the bicycles, so it was very difficult to get to it. And also I was worried that if I disturbed it, it would go away in the bicycles and I couldn't catch it, so that one was quite tough. So there's lots of difficult ones, but just for different reasons.
How many Chinese cobras have you caught, like, in your whole experience of the job?
I don't know, lots.
Too many.
Yeah, too many. I don't know. I mean, more than 100. I'm not sure.
Junior from 6B has a good question. She asks if you have ever been bitten while catching a snake, and if so, how did you treat it?
Have I ever been bitten by any snake? Yes, many, many times. Venomous snake? Never. So if you get bitten by a non-venomous snake, I don't have to do anything. I mean, I've got a scratch here. This was a recent one. But a venomous snake, if you get bitten, then you have to go to hospital. But luckily, that's never happened to me. And hopefully it stays that way.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
How long did it take to recover?
Well, if you get bitten by a non-venomous snake, it's just a small scratch. Unless it's a very, very big python, which I haven't been bitten badly by one. It's very quick. It's like being scratched by a cat. so it's not a big deal. But a venomous snake, it can take you months to recover.
I know it is highly unlikely, but what is the best thing we can do if we ever get bitten by a snake?
The best thing you can do is go and get medical attention. That's it. Nothing else you can do.
I have a question about that. So if I get bitten while I'm out running,
How far from the trailhead? Is this the keep still or go question?
Yeah, is the keep still or go? Do you stay still or do I move and get myself out?
It depends how far away you are. Let's say you're in the middle of the Plover Cove loop and you're like 10 k's away from the end. Maybe it'd be better to consider trying to get evacuated. Also depends what snake it is, but if you're near the end, the most important thing is getting medical attention. The not moving thing is useful, but it's not critical. The getting medical attention is critical. And it depends what it is. I mean, also if you got bitten by a cobra or a bamboo snake in the foot, it might mean in 20 minutes you couldn't walk anyway, possibly. It's so painful.
Does the foot go numb?
I don't know, I've never been bitten, but from what I heard, it's just very, 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 very painful because bamboo snake venom and cobra venom attacks your tissue.
Oh.
So it destroys your tissue. And so it's like a wasp sting times 100. It's just eating away at your tissue. It's very, very painful.
Oh. That sounds like it sucks.
I think it would suck. But the good news is, in those two, they're not attacking your nervous system, which is not painful, but that's the one that can kill you.
Chung Ho Chen from 3D wonders, how many snakes have you caught over the years?
Oh, this is hard to say. I mean, I probably, if I include my snake safaris, I probably catch, I don't know, 5 to 10 snakes a week in the summer, so lots. More than 2,000, I think I worked out, more than 2,000 or 3,000, something like that. Many, many.